I'm always flexing. Mama said, Pepe, be safe in those streets. I said, Mama, I got the second with me. The second. Black bloc faggots trying to take away speech. Antifa. I don't think that they would really want heat. It's lower taxes, less government, man, my man, that's the plan. They think they tricky, but I can't see what's in their hands. Socialists go eat a dick, cause we ain't no fans. I'm gonna go be a hard worker, you could go be a trans. But I'm a motherfucking proud boy. I keep my guns, I keep my speech, you don't wanna take those from me. I'm a motherfucking proud boy. You can feel free to fuck around and find out. I'm a motherfucking proud boy. I drink my beer, I grab my nuts, I talk my shit cause I'm allowed. I'm a motherfucking proud boy. Hey. I'm always flexing. They say I'm a bigot, huh? Y'all could come get it, yeah. Making it great again. Why y'all hating him? And what's wrong with a wall? If everyone had guns, who would be like dumb enough to try to shoot us all? See, you call for hope and change, you pay for your bills and change. School done fuck your brains up, that's why you won't debate us. I think you need some help, cause logic hurts like hell. And where's your safe space at? I said, where's your baseball bat? You can fuck around and find out while I'm exercising the first. Why you watching out of your mailbox for that check on the first? I ain't hating if you can't work, but don't go be a leech, cause that's what the Democrats preach. You fucking NPCs. We talk, y'all scream. We work, y'all sleep. My taxes pay for your EBT, for you to eat. While the dim fins run around naked in the streets. You believe all women, we still got that defeat. I'm a motherfucking proud boy. I keep my guns, I keep my speech. You don't wanna take those from me. I'm a motherfucking proud boy. You can feel free to fuck around and find out. I'm a motherfucking proud boy. I drink my beer, I grab my nuts, I talk my shit cause I'm allowed. I'm a motherfucking proud boy. Ay. I'm always flexing.
We will get through the uncertainty of a new administration in Washington. As I said, we've done this before. We've been through this. And
isn't necessarily the best place to start. In fact, I think our reverence for the truth might have become a bit of a distraction that is
you condemn white supremacy. And he fuddled around, didn't say anything. I said, how about the Proud Boys? And he said, well,
Ronald Reagan was 2 months into his presidency when John Hinckley Jr. blew a $20 million about blowing up the White House.
If you want to really see something that said, take a look what happened.
I want to take this message to talk to your viewers real quick about the story, the conversation we need to have now. The BOP is wasting lots of tax dollars in frivolous spending, and
He traveled to D.C. with body armor and knee pads and pepper spray and a gas mask. There is no legitimate need for this material. It wasn't to protect the rally goers because he didn't stay at the rally. It wasn't for self-defense at the Capitol because that is one of the most heavily policed areas in Washington, D.C. The only thing that paramilitary gear is good for is a confrontation with law enforcement. It is very common to blame Antifa or some other group, these boogeymen, as the reason for all this gear. But the fact remains that by the time he attacked those police, at the time he was at the Capitol, he knows there is no Antifa there. These are the wise words of U.S. Attorney Robert Juman. No, that's not a joke. That's actually his last name, Juman Esquire, out of the South Florida District. He's an attorney for the Department of Justice. And he was reading that, or he was stating that. I'm reading the exact transcript from my pre-sentencing hearing at the South Florida Fort Lauderdale Federal Courthouse for January 6th after I was arrested. Funny thing is I never got a chance to blame Antifa. It's like Mr. Juman, Robert Juman, knew I was going to. You know, for a long time during the January 6th debacle, pre-trial, we had discovered with definitive proof that Antifa was amongst the crowd. We were called liars, of course. We were called, grifters and, making things up. And then, lo and behold, we had our first real with receipts proof. It was myself, along with a fabulous J6er that I consider a brother, Robert, a.k.a. Lego Man Morris, Brian Jackson, and a few others who got in touch with Ashley Babbitt's dear mother, Mickey. We called from inside where we were at the time was Lewisburg Penitentiary. And it's a max security prison. We were pre-trial in a pre-trial unit there. And we got a hold of Mickey one day. And Mickey had, along with Tamara Perryman, Brian Jackson's fiance, they had gotten a hold of a copy of a debriefing, an FBI debriefing from a J6er that was currently being housed in Lewisburg with us, an individual that was housed with us at Northern Neck that traveled with us to Lewisburg, somebody that some of us have been locked up with as a fellow J6er going on for about a year now. Well, they got a hold of his FBI debriefing. And for those of you that don't know, an FBI debriefing in this circumstance is an individual statement that they give to the FBI after being arrested. This individual's name is Josiah Kenyon, known to us in jail as Trash Can. Trash Can was at the West Side Tunnel. He was around the area when Roseanne Boylan was beaten to death by Officer Lila Morris. And Josiah Kenyon at one point had a table leg broken off from, I assume, a coffee table. That's what it appeared to be, with a giant screw sticking out of it. I can assume that the screw was meant to attach this coffee tag label to the coffee table. Well, he was beating officers with this table leg. And in that area specifically, despite what anybody on the left will try to tell you, the officers were 100% the aggressor there. Before the push happened and before people charged forward, these officers were beating people senselessly. And Officer Lila Morris took the life of Roseanne Boylan by beating her. So for the individuals, including Josiah, being enraged in action against Capitol Police, which I'm not condoning violence towards police, I actually speak vastly against it. That area in particular was instigated by Capitol Police, among many others on the west side of that building that day. But I digress. Josiah Kenyon, guy that we've been hanging out with, breaking bread with, and eating with, considering him a J6er, his debriefing leaks. They get a hold of it. In his debriefing, Josiah Kenyon tells FBI agents that he is a communist, that he is loosely affiliated with Antifa. He, after January 6th, fled to Oregon and was housed and harbored by groups of Antifa. And he went to January 6th that day to hope to provoke to get Trump supporters shot by police. These are his words. You don't have to believe me. They're in his debriefing, which was published by the Gateway Pundit and Jim Hoft. It's public record. You could feel whatever kind of way you want to feel about right-wing media and the title that of the apparatus that that holds. You may not like Gateway Pundit, which I personally fucking love, but it doesn't negate the fact that this debriefing, this statement is a transcript from Josiah Kenyon to the FBI. Josiah may not have been around Ashley Babbitt, but Josiah stated in his own words that he went to January 6th to provoke in hopes that Trump's supporters get shot. It's his words to the FBI. So a Trump supporter did get shot that day. She was killed in cold blood. She had her hands up. She was trying to leave the scene of another Antifa provocateur, Zachary Alam. She's seen on video yelling at him and punching him in the face. He's the one that broke the window. She wanted to get away from the scene. Anybody with a clear head that just analyzes that video can clearly see that. So Josiah Kenyon, mission accomplished. I'm going to share right now. I'm going to share. Let's see if I can do this. I'm going to share the article from Gateway Pundit briefly, and I'll post it down in a link earlier. And the reason I'm not going to post it right now is pretty funny, because when I had my first X account that got banned mysteriously, they wouldn't allow me to share this article. Okay. It gets blocked when I share it on X. The harbingers of free speech, huh? Which I'm not negating what Elon did. It was magnificent. So this is the article on Gateway Pundit that they publish, and I'll go ahead and put it up full screen. And I'll scroll down. I'm not going to read the whole article. I'll post it later. If anyone wants to DM me, I'll gladly send it to you. But this is where his transcripts from the FBI are leaked. There's a recorded interview with me from, believe I was in DC jail at the time that I ever did this interview with Jim Hoft. And so, yeah, it explains what happened. We pulled Josiah into a cell. We claimed to be on his side. And Josiah confided in all of us and confirmed what he said in the FBI debriefing was true. He actually gave us the name and location of an Antifa stronghold. We confirmed it with sources on the outside that it did belong to who Josiah Kenyon said it belonged to. And this person is affiliated with Rose City Antifa out of Portland, Oregon. So this article's been out there. Okay. And, this is Josiah right here. I mean, apparently infiltrating January 6th is so easy, even a fucking caveman can do it. But here's Josiah Kenyon. This is his mugshot. And in this article from Gateway Pundit, you can clearly see his FBI debriefing. Again, those are his words to the FBI. He also admits that he was passing out PCP lace cigarettes that day, unbeknownst to people accepting them. It's in his FBI debriefing. I'm not just making this shit up. It's his words. So to go back to Robert Juman, a U.S. attorney on a lot of J6 cases, who actively said in my pretrial release, attempt to, and again, I don't have a criminal record. I did get involved in a physical altercation with a Capitol police officer that day, and I regret it. I wish I didn't do it. I take responsibility. But the notion that any idiot on the left is going to believe and pump out as truth is that I just went there and assaulted a police officer. That's not what happened. The police attacked us. They attacked innocent protesters, and we fought back. Does it make it right? No. But we didn't go there with the intention of attacking Capitol police officers. This Robert Juman knew Antifa was there. He knew I was going to probably make an argument eventually at some point in my case a bail hearing is not the place to do that, for those of you that don't know. But he goes on record and says Antifa is just a boogeyman. What's a boogeyman? It's not real. It's a phobia that's false, an irrational phobia of something that just doesn't exist. This is what U.S. Attorney Robert Juman says, that Antifa is a boogeyman. And we have heard this same false narrative time and time again from other leftists, whether it be MSNBC, the governor of Oregon, you fucking James fucking Comey. The list goes on and on. That's what the left does. All the while calling groups like the Proud Boys terrorists, insurrectionists, seditious conspirators, all of the things that this boogeyman actually is. I've got my brother Reno that just joined me, and I'm going to bring him up to the stage. And are you ready? Thumbs up? Okay. Reno may have some experience with Antifa. And, Reno, welcome. I appreciate you joining me. We're doing a little impromptu live based on Trump's Roundtable today. I don't know if you got a chance to watch any of that.
I did. Yeah, I watched it.
Did you watch the whole thing?
Yeah.
Phenomenal. I mean, I'm at the point, I believe, and correct me, let me know where you stand on this, but I think a lot of people, especially MAGA Republicans, whatever that is, we are tired of hearing of the talk. We want to see fucking action.
Yeah.
I mean, is that, it was great to hear these things, to hear Trump and be stated, to have Nick Sortor in the room, Nick Shirley in the room, people that were just recently attacked by Antifa. This was a great optic, but I want to see fucking action. What say you?
Yeah, and I hope there is action. I mean, there was a lot of good talk. There was a lot of good talk in that room today. But talk is talk. Talk is
right.
cheap.
Well, I have a few things lined up that I'm going to share. I don't know if you were able to catch when I started the show.
No,
I read something pretty interesting. I'm going to read it one more time. Bear with me, guys. It's very short. And it says, he traveled to D.C. with body armor and knee pads and pepper spray and a gas mask. There is no legitimate need for this material. It wasn't to protect rally goers because he didn't stay at the rally. It wasn't for self-defense at the Capitol because that's one of the most heavily policed areas in Washington, D.C. The only thing that paramilitary gear is good for is confrontation with law enforcement. It is very common to blame Antifa or some other group, these boogeymen, as the reason for all this gear. But the fact remains that by the time he attacks those police, at the time he was at the Capitol, he knows no Antifa is not there. This is the prosecutor reading. I'm reading the transcript from my prosecutor, Robert Juman. No, that's not a joke. That's his last name. At my pretrial release at the federal courthouse in South Florida after being arrested for January 6th. This is a federal prosecutor that states Antifa is just this elusive, non-existent boogeyman that we blame for our own criminal actions. But that's not the story we're getting anymore. And I believe more Americans that really that believe that narrative propagated by the left are now seeing the fucking truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're definitely real. And as you said, I think a lot of people are waking up. If you wasn't woke up during 19 and 20, during Chaz and Chop and everything that was going on in Seattle, Portland, Minnesota, all the different places.
Right.
That they were burning their cities down and so on and so forth. Now, I guess now you see it. I don't know because we had some people that are showing it on YouTube and are reporting on it and showing their faces. They don't have to call themselves Antifa. They can be Antifa related. As they say, they are decentralized, and I believe that they are decentralized. But they are not an idea. They are definitely real, and they definitely have fun.
100%. And we're actually going to get into this because Antifa is, because of their the way they use autonomy, they do have this loosely affiliated appearance that they're not very well organized. And when you broadly say Antifa, they get to use, whether it holds up in court, and it just could, that they are saying they're anti-fascist, that it's not an organized group. What I think we need to go a step further and specifically name John Brown Gun Club, Redneck Revolt, the Democratic Socialist Movement of America, these organizations that are 100% Antifa. These are the organizations that accept the funding, do the training, organize, train, and set their little minions out to do what they do and basically become a communist foot soldier in the street. And so there's something to be said about going further and saying, okay, fuck Antifa, but John Brown Gun Club, let's look into that. Redneck Revolt, let's look into that, because these are the organizations that I believe are maybe in violation of RICO laws.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they're definitely named groups. I mean, you have groups you have Rose City Antifa. That is a thing.
It is 100%.
If you want to know about them, look them up. They've made documentaries on them on YouTube. And tell me that those people aren't organized. You know, the average protester out there in Portland probably isn't getting paid. But where did all those supplies come from?
Yeah.
None of them have jobs, so that money had to come from somewhere to get those supplies. They had to be donated. They had to be bought. They just don't show up like pallets of bricks. I mean,
right. Well, we're gonna go now. I'm gonna go to some of what Trump was saying in the roundtable, and I'm gonna mention first, and we're gonna get into the specifics. But I find it I don't find it shocking. I know why the reason is, but a lot of people don't know that American Antifa in 2010 actually flew to Syria and tried to take over an uninhabited territory and went to war with ISIS and exchanged fires, got their asses handed to them. They were working with the Kurdish army that was deemed a terrorist organization at that time. And they were trying to actually carve out a piece of worn-torn territory for themselves with guns, with ammo, with armor, and make their own little socialist utopia. This happened, and a lot of people don't know about it. We're going to get into that. But I do want to, I'm going to bring up Trump here, and here we go. And let's talk about this. And I'm going to let this play for a little bit.
Antifa, and
Let's see what happened here.
including one assault that left him with a brain hemorrhage. Only days ago, Nick Sortor was assaulted in Portland by a flag-burning mob, and we've made it 1 year penalty for inciting riots. We took the freedom of speech away because that's been through the courts, and the court said you have freedom of speech, but what has happened is when they burn a flag, it agitates and irritates crowds. They've never seen anything like it on both sides, and you end up with riots. So we're going on that basis. We're looking at it from.
I'm going to stop it there for 1 second. And so I want to talk about that. Okay. I can understand from the libertarian perspective that it's not very popular to talk, burning the flag being a criminal offense and not being protected by freedom of speech. But I'm finding it hard to understand two aspects of it. So there's Democrats that constantly push. There's some states that have laws where burning a BLM flag or a pride flag is a hate crime. But burning the American flag is accepted. And if that's not more blatant fucking proof of a two-tier system, two-tier ideology at stake or at play, I don't know what is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's yes, it is absolutely protected, and just like he said, they're taking that out. They're not prosecuting them under freedom of speech. They took that away. But it is incitement in a highly charged situation like that. That is incitement to violence and an incitement of the crowd.
And you got men and women out there with generations of family members that died for that flag. that have shed blood, that have never returned home. And I am not going to encourage violence. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and say get out there and start beating people up. But no matter where you're at in life or in this world, and you see somebody burn the American flag, I suggest you try to stop it or die trying. That's my humble opinion. When I first learned the respect for the U.S. flag, I was 18 years old, and my cousin's boyfriend was playing in this fucking band, and the band was called Betsy Ross. Okay. And it was a punk band with a female lead singer, and they had the Betsy Ross flag, right? And it was a stage thing that they put in the back of their performance. Well, they spray painted Betsy Ross on this flag. One of the bouncers, this was sound check. One of the bouncers was a former Marine. He ran up on stage and ripped that fucking flag off that fucking wall, and he let these people know how he felt about them spray painting over that fucking flag. It was intimidating. The guy was huge. He was pissed, and he was ready to fight the entire band, including the chick. And that's when I realized how important that flag is and how important it must be to somebody that served this nation. So I 100% agree that is inciting a riot, because that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, it's the actions behind why they're burning the flag. They're not burning it in protest. They're burning it to incite the other side to violence. That's they should be charged with that. They should be charged with incitement, inciting a riot.
I'm gonna go back to Trump here for a second and let this play. Let more of this. A lot of this was glorious to listen to.
Not from the freedom of speech, which I always felt strongly about, but never passed the courts. This is what they do: is they incite. When you burn an American flag, you incite tremendous violence. We have many examples of it, many examples of it, and it's actually down on tape. And you see things happen that just don't happen unless it's the flag that's burning. Very recently, Katie Davis Court was hit in the face with a flagpole in Portland by an Antifa radical, leaving her with a very blackened eye. So, Katie, thank you very much. And I'd like to also say that I watched Nick. Where's Nick? Is Nick here? Nick? Hi, Nick. That was a rough time you went through. I hope you got my little note. I wrote you a note.
I really appreciate that. It helped a lot because it was a difficult situation. It was very stressful, and your note helped a lot.
I thought it was terrible, actually. I thought it was terrible. So we'll talk about it a little bit. Under the last administration, the Department of Justice targeted faithful Catholics, Christians, and patriotic parents
as is the part I like hearing.
Domestic extremists. They said, oh, they're extreme because they believe in God. They're extreme because they go to Catholic church, or evangelicals, where everybody was under the gun. Unless you were a really bad, sick person, then they left you alone. Under the Trump administration, we're going after Antifa criminals, and all who fund and support their campaigns are in serious trouble. And we have a lot of records already, a lot of surprises, a lot of bad surprises. It's people that you would never think. I want to thank Attorney General Pam Bondi, who, by the way, yesterday was incredible in Congress. It was amazing, and she just did it from the heart and the brain, because she's very smart, in all fairness. But she did it from the heart, and she did it an incredible. Everybody was talking about it. She exposed some of these fake senators, these terrible senators, people like Blumenthal that had a phony war record. For 20 years, he talked about it, what a hero he was, and it turned out he never went to Vietnam. For 20 years, he talked about being a hero in Vietnam. Then it was exposed.
Oh, shit.
When he said what platoon he was with, and it was exposed that.
Stop that there for a second. Has anybody else heard about that?
Yeah, I heard about that.
So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I did, liked him touching on real quick was the fact that the FBI under the previous administration did label Christians, Catholics, and conservatives and pro-lifers as domestic fucking terrorists. Okay, when they did it to the Proud, when they tried to do it to the Proud Boys, and they basically did it behind closed doors, at least Americans could understand that, because the images they saw that were propagated through the media were a bunch of dudes in tactical fucking vests, a bunch of ragtag militia looking men marching through the streets, causing problems as far as MSNBC was concerned, right? So I don't really blame, them for thinking that. But as we continue forward and we continue to see that Antifa is clearly the problem, they always have been. I'd like to know how many people from the general public will circle back and say, hey, maybe I got these Proud Boy guys a little bit fucking wrong.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a big thing. Unfortunately, we've been demonized so much, not only by the left but also by the right, and
Right.
and then that's buying into the lies. That was probably propagated by the left, and people don't know better. People don't know any different. They hear something and instead of questioning it, they believe it.
Yeah. I found some, the kind of, well, I'm going to go back and finish this Trump thing a little bit, and I want to let him go for a bit, and here's some more of this.
Somebody was watching from that particular platoon. They said he was never with us. And then he went out and he cried and was ready to drop out of the election. And disgraceful. And then he looks at people like Pam and he starts criticizing her, and she's a patriot. And they ought to do something with that. We have a young congressman that's right now in jail for lying about where he went to college and other things. It was, frankly not good. It was pretty bad. But it was nothing compared to Blumenthal. I mean, what Blumenthal did, he was for 20 years a hero, a great war hero. And then he sits back and, sanctimonious kind of a guy, looks down, how dare you do this to the American public, What a fake. But I thought Pam was incredible yesterday, as well as Secretary Kristi Noem, who's really out there courageously, and I appreciate it, Kristi, amazing what you're doing. FBI Director Kash Patel, who's really coming up with some great information, Kash. It's great. Keep it coming, because there's plenty of it. Deputy Attorney General, one of the best lawyers you'll ever find, Todd Blanche, who I know personally is a good lawyer because I'm here. Thank you very much, Todd. Good job, Todd. Let me ask Attorney General Bondi to say a few words, and then we'll follow it up with Secretary Noem and Director Patel. And we're going to have some of the people around the table, very courageous people. And they.
All right, so I'm going to let Pandy go, but she does, I know there's a lot of mixed feelings about her at the moment, and I'm not going to get into them on this show at this moment, but to focus on what the topic of this, and that's Antifa now labeled a domestic terrorist group. I think that she goes on to say some pretty relevant things, and it signals to me that she's at least looking in the right direction. Now, again, as we said earlier, we want to see things happen. We want to see action. And I believe people are paying attention. And if it continues down the road of inaction, whatever. But this administration, in my humble opinion, is doing a fucking lot that we haven't seen done in a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just the designation is an amazing thing. Then now they're looking. I think I heard in that interview or that roundtable that he said they were looking at not only doing domestic, they were looking at international. So that puts a whole new ballgame when you label a group an international terrorist organization. That all the gloves are off after that.
Sure, and as Pam Bondi gets into with her address at the roundtable, I think she specifically names a Rose City Antifa person, as you were talking about, that I believe they've indicted. She's going to give the specifics. I can't remember. I don't want to put shit out there that's not accurate. So let's go back to this as Pam Bondi speaks. And despite how you may feel about her, I am not going to sit here and blame an administration for not completely reversing the shit that these communist Marxist trash bags have been doing for the last fucking 80 years of this country. So, will we get to that point for critiquing? Sure. But right now, I'm happy with this. Let's see what happens. But here we go with Bondi.
We're going to be talking journalists, almost all, and they're going to be talking, and we'll take some questions from the press at the end. Okay, Pam, please.
Thank you, President Trump. And as you made clear, Antifa is a domestic left-wing terrorist organization We've seen them on video for years because they wanted to be seen and they got away with it. They beat journalists, they attack courthouses, they attack police stations, they dox and assault our law enforcement officers. The Biden administration let them commit these crimes with total impunity for years.
Facts.
So did Democrat leaders like Pritzker and Mayor Brandon Johnson. Last week, independent journalist Nick Sorter was arrested just for protecting himself against Antifa. I saw it online and I called Nick. I couldn't believe what happened. He did all this just trying to save our American flag from being burned. He was pushed down and assaulted, yet the local police arrested Nick, not the Antifa thugs who did this to him. Antifa feels empowered to operate in the open because weak Democrats have turned a blind eye to their actions. Their hatred for President Trump and for law and order agendas fuels their violence. We've seen more than 1,000% increase in attacks against our ICE agents since January 20th. Secretary Noem is out there fighting for you firsthand to keep our federal officers safe, to keep our federal buildings safe, and we're not going to have it anymore, these thugs. We saw what's happening in Portland and Chicago, and you saw what happened in Dallas. No longer. This is not activism, it's anarchy. We can't and we will not let masked terrorists burn our buildings, attack our law enforcement, and intimidate our communities. Under your leadership, President Trump, we're deploying the full might of the federal law enforcement to crack down on Antifa and other domestic terrorist organizations led by Stephen Miller. And Stephen, thank you for everything you're doing. Last week, I issued a memo ordering our federal law enforcement agents, DEA, FBI, U.S. Marshals, and ATF to protect ICE officers from Antifa and other radical left-wing violence. Director Patel has been going non-stop. He and Deputy Attorney General Blanche were in Chicago yesterday. While Secretary Noem was in Portland, we are around this country fighting against this domestic terrorism. We had Apple and Google take down the ICE block apps. Hope they continue to comply with that. It's threatening the safety of our federal law enforcement officers. We're not going to stop at just around.
I'm going to pause it there for a second. You know, really think about that. It wasn't bad enough that they made ICE block apps, coordinated efforts to stop ICE and doing the job that the American people mandated that they do. You actually had coordination with Alphabet, Google's sister company, and Meta, Facebook's company, and other companies working to keep these things up there and promoting them on their platforms. This is terrible. This is absolutely terrible. Now, I'm glad that they complied. I hope they continue to comply. But this is just more of when Trump said that I am fighting an enemy from within. This is what he was talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to go back to Bondi.
Arresting the violent criminals we can see in the streets. Fighting crime is more than just getting the bad guy off the streets. It's breaking down the organization brick by brick. Just like we did with cartels, we're going to take the same approach, President Trump, with Antifa. Destroy the entire organization from top to bottom. We're going to take them apart. Thanks to your bold leadership and the designation of Antifa as a terrorist organization, which is exactly what they are, Americans will no longer tolerate their unhinged violence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pam. Christine.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, and thank you for hosting today and focusing on Antifa and the terrorists that they are. Let's not make any mistake. These individuals do not just want to threaten our law enforcement officers, threaten our journalists, and the citizens of this country. They want to kill them. Their agenda is to destroy the American people and our way of life, and this president is standing in their way. He is stopping them from bringing their death and their destruction to the individual citizens in this country that just want to raise their kids and their grandkids in peace and in safety. I want to also thank everyone around this table for being so bold and so brave, for standing up and recognizing the threat that Antifa is to our way of life. By recognizing how advanced they are, how sophisticated their networks are, how they've infiltrated our entire country, and we're seeing them play out with their tactics from city to city, and how they have built out their funding mechanisms. And, sir, I also want to thank our Treasury Secretary for his work in getting to the bottom of these funding mechanisms and individuals.
So I'm going to pause it there for a second. And as you can see from what they're saying, they are taking this shit fucking seriously. And I think they're playing to win here, because the notion that you can just blanketly call any person that affiliates or associates or deems themselves Antifa, you really can't do that. The fact that they're digging in with the Treasury Department to find the funding signals to me this is fucking serious. So, yes, we'll see what happens. I'm going to go back and keep playing this a little bit, and then I'm going to get into J.B. Pritzker.
Individuals who are perpetuating this violence on our American seas. I was in Portland yesterday and had the chance to visit with the governor of Oregon and also the mayor. They're in town, and they are absolutely covering up the terrorism that is hitting their streets. While you talked about some of the stories of our ICE agents, our Border Patrol agents, how they have been attacked, how they have been shot at, injured, the damage that they've done, these leaders in these local cities, along with Pritzker and Johnson, ignore what's going on, or, sir, they're helping Antifa cover it up. We have arrested dozens of individuals that are Antifa members or affiliated with them, and I want to thank our Attorney General for prosecuting them and making sure they never see the light of day again. They have been so bold in making sure we're bringing those individuals to justice. One of the individuals we arrested recently in Portland was the girlfriend of one of the founders of Antifa, and that we are hoping that as we go after her, interview her, and prosecute her, we will get more and more information about the network and how we can root them out and eliminate them from the existence of American society. I want to thank the new journalists here today for telling their stories and for being able and willing to go to the streets and to cover what's happening here in America. Many times the legacy media has looked the other way, refused to tell the stories. The networks have not really focused on what this is and what damage it is doing to our country, and how this network of Antifa is just as sophisticated as MS-13, as TDA, as ISIS, as Hezbollah, as Hamas, as all of them. They are just as dangerous. They have an agenda to destroy us, just like the other terrorists we've dealt with for many, many years.
Yeah, so if I was Antifa right now, I would be shitting a fucking brick. I'll tell you that much. Because, you know, these are the people that cheered, supported, and helped the FBI attack American citizens such as pro-lifers and you know, Catholics and so on and so forth. They cheered it along. They liked it.
Yep.
And you know, that's
they were all for it. They were all for it. I don't know if you removed it from the scene.
It won't remove from the screen.
Take off your screen share.
I did.
I can't control it.
Well, that is very strange. Okay, so I'm going to now. This is another shitbag that's talking. We have heard this story now coming out of Chicago, of J.D. Pritzker, and ICE. Their relationship is going south very fast. And J.D. Pritzker, the governor of fucking Illinois, has basically instructed his law enforcement through his mayor, Brandon Marxist Johnson, to not assist ICE. He's actively told Chicago PD not to back up ICE when ICE was surrounded by a 10-car caravan recently in Chicago. So as Chicago PD was going to respond to help their federal law enforcement, their colleagues in law enforcement, they stood down. And anything could have happened to these Chicago police officers. This was orchestrated by Antifa. And here's what J.D. Pritzker basically has to say. The constant gaslighting from the left is just absurd. And this is this fat bastard's excuse of what's going on. He's actively declaring war against the administration, the American people that mandated this and voted for this.
I refuse to let Donald Trump, Kristi Noem, and Greg autocracy. Their plan all along has been to cause chaos, and then they can use that chaos to consolidate Donald Trump's power. They think they can fool us all into thinking that the way to get out of this crisis that they created is to give them free rein. Well, that plan will only work if we let it. The state of Illinois is going to use every lever at our disposal to resist this power grab and get Noam's thugs the hell out of Chicago.
So, I mean, really think about that fucking trash basket and what he just said. Really think about that. It's insanity. He's basically telling the president of the United States and the American people to shove it up their ass and pound sand.
Yep.
This is fucking insane. You have an elected governor now, and he blames Trump and the Republican Party for causing the immigration issue. Are you fucking serious? This is absolutely fucking berserk. I mean, the open border that Biden, his administration deliberately opened. He was handed a secure border when he took office. He deliberately fucking opened it. And now you've got this trash basket of a governor openly blaming Trump for this crisis. I mean, this is absolutely fucking insane.
Well, it's because their policies are falling apart. Their policies are falling apart, and they have to have somebody to blame. The easy target would be the president that's here in office now, not the president that put these policies into place and let millions of immigrants come across the border freely. And now those cities and those states are under attack. So yeah, he has to shift the blame somehow. And I don't know what's going to go on in Illinois. I mean, apparently Memphis and Tennessee is thriving now. Is so happy that they're there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's odd. It's odd that they would shift the blame to the current president when these people were already here during the last administration.
And the American people aren't fucking buying anymore. They're clearly seeing what's going on. They're not putting up with this shit. They see the propaganda, they see the lies from the left, and the left is losing supporters in droves because America can see this is bullshit. You are lying to us. And it's phenomenal to happen. So basically, when it comes to Democrat propaganda, it's always to deny and shift blame, blame the other side for that in which you're guilty of, an old communist fucking tactic. And so here I got some image of Maxine Waters just being Maxine Waters. This is basically Democrats all across the board.
Now, you know damn well it's all the ultra-MAGA Republicans out there in the streets causing all the crimes and the lootings and all the violence. Y'all blaming the Democrats, but it ain't the Democrats. It's the ultra-MAGA Trump supporters. They out there the ones doing all the crimes and the looting. We, the Democrats, we be peaceful. It's the Trump supporters out there doing all the crimes, doing all the violence and looting all the stores. Them ultra-MAGA Republicans, them the ones that's the problem. Y'all need to go at them and get them off the street because they causing the problems. Not those Democrats. Those Democrats is peaceful. It's them ultra-MAGA Trump supporters out there doing all the crimes. Mm-hmm. Sure is.
And that's basically what you get from Democrats. And America is just not fucking buying it anymore. They can see through the bullshit. They see through the crap. And Yeah, I really hope that this momentum carries to the primaries and midterms. So what do you think is going to come next for Antifa? Do you think this administration is going to be proactive? I mean, they declared war on Tren de Aragua, and we've seen how many boats blow up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, hopefully they keep the same energy they're going into it with, and investigate. As I said, the average Antifa protester out on the street is probably not seeing any of that money, but the ones that are organizing are definitely real, and definitely hopefully they go after them.
Yeah,
That would
it's
be
kind of
great. I would like to see. I would like to see raids. I would like to see raids. There's a safe house right down the damn street from the Portland Ice Center. I'd like to see a raid on that thing. That would be great.
I think you're going to. I mean, a lot of the lower level foot soldiers are pretty fucking stupid. They're very ignorant, and there's been a lot of now proof and proof positive that Antifa has been infiltrating homeless shelters and trying to get drug addicted homeless people to do their bidding for them. And you see this actively in Portland. There's an individual out there that Chad and Nick really did good a job exposing, that they give alcohol and drugs to, and he goes and he picks fights and does stupid shit. And of course, Portland Police Department refuses to arrest him.
Yeah, and they named him during that. They named him during that meeting today. They didn't name him, but they said, "Hey, I'd like to find the guy that was burning that flag," and that was that homeless guy. That guy's a pawn. He doesn't know any better. He just knows that somebody's giving him drugs or giving him alcohol and telling him to go fuck with people. The guy's mentally unstable. So I mean, it's kind of like getting a retard, your retarded brother, to go down and punch the neighbor down the street. I mean, it's basically the same thing. He's going to be able to convince.
Basically, a Timu Greta Thunberg.
Yeah, absolutely.
This was my prison coffee cup that I got. This is a coffee cup they sell in the federal prison commissary. I had a guy put that on there for me. I drank this every morning walking around the yard.
Nice. Couple liberal tears.
So hopefully Antifa will be getting their own coffee cup pretty soon. They could put that little fucking black and red flag and the dildo thing they do with the Trantifa crap. They'll have their own coffee cup. And I don't have any sympathy for them. They sent the J6ers hate mail while in prison. They cheered it along. They helped sedition hunters. And now look where you're at, guys. I hope you don't expect to have any sympathy, because we're going to do a really good job of making sure that doesn't happen for you.
Yeah, and I can't stress this enough, Barry. I can't wait for them to label them a international terrorist organization, because once they do that, all gloves are off. Gloves are off. They're no longer some random guy on the street that's wearing a red and black flag. They are now Al Qaeda. They are now Hamas. They are now anybody that we have labeled terrorist organizations. They are now that.
Yeah, I can definitely speak for myself and a lot of neighbors in my neighborhood. We wouldn't take too kindly to Hamas walking down the street in our neighborhood. So if Antifa is Hamas now, and that's kind of funny and almost quite poetic that that Hamas now, because I remember Sunny Hostin from The View not too long ago said that the Proud Boys were America's Hamas. She said those words. Well, Sunny, not anymore.
Times have changed.
Yeah, things are changing. America's looking great. America's looking really good. I really hope that Trump goes in there and smashes these assholes. I just basically want to see bags of smashed assholes with the little Antifa flags attached to them, because these people are truly shit baskets. They hate this country. They hate this Constitution, and they openly say this every chance they get. How can we coexist with somebody that doesn't want us alive?
Yeah, absolutely.
We talked about earlier that a lot of people are unaware that Antifa, American Antifa, traveled to Syria, joined forces with a Kurdish terrorist group, and started to attempt to fight ISIS and carve out a little area of basically abandoned land in Syria for themselves. This happened. They were given weapons. They were funded by organizations to do this. A lot of them were killed. And Rolling Stone has an article about this. And do you know what the crux of the article is, Reno?
What's that?
Antifa goes to Syria and defeats ISIS.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
Are you kidding?
ISIS was beheading journalists and military members. You think some soy boy Antifa member that doesn't know whether he's a man or a woman is going to be able to take on ISIS?
While that is facts, what people should take away from the story is they're that fucking motivated to do something like that. That's the issue. So if you think that they're not a terrorist organization, or you think that these people are just LARPing around and aren't fucking dangerous, then you're clearly not reading the writing on the wall.
Yeah, they're stupidly dangerous, to be honest with you, Barry, is what it is. They're so stupid that they're dangerous.
Oh, 100%.
Anybody can, they say, oh, well, these guys will shoot you. Well, yeah, anybody can point. You give a monkey a weapon, and he's going to point that weapon, and wherever he points that weapon and pulls the trigger, it's going to hit. But, they don't know any better. They're given directions on what to do and where to go. And they have no concept of individual thought whatsoever. They're mindless drones.
Yeah, they're a hive mind. They're just useful fucking idiots. It's why when you see these influencers as of recent that are more on the apolitical side, like JD DeLay, they really don't care about MAGA or Antifa. They don't care. They're just trying to find out how people feel, and they're met with the same resistance as a conservative influencer. They're called Nazis, bigots, fascists. And JD DeLay was labeled a Proud Boy, and he doesn't really know much about us. And him and I had a brief conversation on one of his videos that he posted on Facebook, and he agreed to talk with me and Enrique and let us tell our side of the story. We agreed to answer any questions he wants to ask. Nothing is off the table. We exchanged an email. He hasn't got back to me, but I'm really hoping to do that because we are more than willing to have conversations. You may not like what we have to say, but we'll talk to you in peaceful and not call you names or disrespect you. You can speak with us, and he's an individual. Right, or attack you. He's a level-headed individual, so I'm really hoping that he goes forth with that and talks to us because we're open books, man. We don't fucking got shit to hide, and we come with receipts.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to encourage people real quick before we get off the topic. The Trantifa, Pantifa, fucking Antifa, Syria thing that took place in 2010s was called the Rojava Revolution. Called it the Rojava Revolution. I want people to look into that and see what these fucking imbeciles actually attempted to do. And remember that if they're that organized to go there, then of course they're more than willing to cause chaos and mayhem here. They're very clear that they do not like this country. They want it to cease from existence. Believe them when they fucking tell you that. So there's that. One point that I was talking to Enrique a little earlier, who's out in the UK. And he brought up a very interesting point that Trump said during his address at the Roundtable today in regards to Antifa. And Trump brought up the 18 USC 2384. For those of you that don't know, that's the U.S. code for seditious conspiracy. Ironically, that was the same thing they inappropriately, wrongfully charged Enrique Tarrio with and sent him to prison for 22 fucking years for doing absolutely nothing wrong other than having corrupt, lying FBI agents on his case. And this can all be proven. You don't have to take my word for it. I understand there's a lot of people out there that just won't do that. He's a Nazi because Antifa said he's a Nazi. So, there's some of you that just can't wrap your head around another way of thinking. You're called leftists. Don't really give a shit. But nonetheless, it's poetic justice now that some of these Antifa people that celebrated when Enrique Tarrio was sent to prison for 22 fucking years for something he didn't do called seditious conspiracy. Well, now you guys might actually be guilty of seditious conspiracy. You see, what they try to blame Enrique for is taking over a government building, something he did not do, never encouraged to do, and something that, quite frankly, never fucking happened. But Antifa, if you're out there listening, you did do that. You have tried to do that. And this can go all the way back to 2020 when you fucking burnt down the federal building in Portland and in Minneapolis.
Yeah,
that's sedition.
In Minneapolis got torched ablaze, and they're still not using it.
And those federal governments were broken. Those federal buildings were broken into by you guys. Mm-hmm. You guys attacked a border customs patrol building in Los Angeles. These are now seditious conspiracy charges. And you imbeciles may laugh and you may chuckle to yourself. But I don't think Enrique Tarrio was chuckling when they said 22 fucking years, one way or the other. So hold that same energy, you fucktards. Hold that same fucking energy. That's all I ask. Keep the same energy.
Yeah. The problem is well, not the problem, but the thing is that this time around with these dumb fucks, it's gonna be fair. It'll be fair because they actually did it.
Yeah. You guys are actually guilty of it. So this is going to be fun, and you're going to get to see what it's like to go through the process when they make the process the punishment. You're going to get to see what diesel therapy is like when they transport you in chains and cuffs all over the country in 17 to 22-hour bus rides 3 to 5 times a month. You are going to fucking hate it.
Yep.
And you know what? Quite frankly, I'm going to enjoy every fucking minute of it. I don't care. I'm that petty. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah. Well,
they didn't give a shit if I would have had to know my mom died and passed away from inside of a prison cell. They didn't give a shit if Enrique Tarrio never got to see his loved ones again. They didn't give a fuck. They celebrated. Well, let's get ready to party. I was telling people the other day, I just went to Costco and bought one of those big tubs of all the different flavor popcorn. I don't even fucking like popcorn, but I just can't wait to break that thing out because this is going to be fucking lovely.
Yeah. Not only that, dude, not only these Antifa fucks, not only do I want to see them held accountable, I want to see these fucking mayors and these fucking governors 100%. And these AGs and these chiefs of police and
these Soros-backed prosecutors.
Absolutely. Yeah. I want to see all those motherfuckers pay too, because you know what? You can be charged with that fucking same insurrection as Antifa can. Because you are not allowing your fucking police, even that the guy in Pritzker or whatever in Illinois is saying you're going to set up ice-free zones, or that's the mayor or whatever.
Yeah.
You guys realize that you're fucking with the federal government.
Well, his gun-free zones worked out so fucking well in Chicago.
Absolutely.
So, hey, let him do it. I support him. But obviously, this guy's a mastermind at planning. And to your point, something that Trump said during the Roundtable address that I found very fascinating, because I'll tell you right now, I am not a QAnon person. There's been some good things that came out of that little organization, but I don't pay attention to much of it. All right, so that's just that. At the same time, Trump does speak in a telegraphed code. If he says things for a reason, and today he said something that I found very interesting. He said, there's a lot of people involved with funding Antifa, people in my social circle, people I know, people I've sat at restaurants with.
Yeah.
I mean, that dude's not, that is blatant Trump. Yeah, that is him being blunt and to the point that he knows.
Shot across the bow. That's just shot across the bow to those people.
100%.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be very interesting. I really do. One of my favorite politicians, I think, is one of the very first populists, as far as a gubernatorial populist, at least to my knowledge, was Huey Long out of Louisiana. Huey Long had a famous quote that I don't know a lot of people know that he said it. And he said it, and I think it frames the narrative of where we're at today perfectly to a T. Huey Long said that when fascism comes to America, it will come in the name of anti-fascism. This was like 1933 or 35 or something, man. I mean, what a prediction, huh?
Yeah, dead on.
It's like he knew what he was talking about. And that's the narrative. And that's a very Marxist communist thing to do. It's, I think Orwell touched on it pretty well in 1984 with the doublespeak. You've seen BLM choose a name, Black Lives Matter. right? So there, if you disagree with the looting and the stealing and the thuggatry and the fucking ghettification and all the crap and the shit and the chaos and quite frankly evil that Black Lives Matter as an organization brought to the table, if you disagree with it, then you don't think Black Lives Matter. If you don't agree with Antifa, well, then you agree with fascists because we're anti-fascist. That is a constant move from communist. So when they say communism isn't here, we're just going by these people that claim they hate America and watching their behavior and how it is completely aligned with communistic behavior.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's the left for you. You know, if you're not with us, you're against us. You know, and it's if you're not anti-fascist, then you must be fascist. You know, just like you said, and that, you know, half the time that's not true. That's not true. You know, you don't have to love fascism to be a fascist or anti-fascist or however that whatever.
Well, a slightly brilliant play on their end was making nationalism a bad thing by attaching it to a racist ideology that being a nationalist and loving your country is wrong. And it's not wrong. It's actually the epitome of having a successful culture is people that love the culture that they're in. So that is something that they did. And it's also when around the same time they started doing that is when they started calling our great republic a democracy. They change the words of things and they get people to say it and to say it and to say it. And then people don't know their head from their ass. And you see that with all these kids and people calling this a democracy. We are not a fucking democracy. They did it. They did it to Ron DeSantis, who I think is an excellent fucking governor. And he did the parental rights bill. It was 5 pages of the most comprehensive legislation maybe ever passed. 5 fucking pages. And it basically said you cannot teach sex education in any way, shape, or form until the 4th grade. No books for kindergartens, no sex ed for kindergartens. That was it. The liberals took it and called it the Don't Say Gay bill. You know how many times it said anything about homosexuality or gay in that 5 pieces of comprehensive legislation? Zero. But they did that, and of course it rattled up the ignorant left on the LGBTQ. They think they're under attack, and they're of course always needing fucking attention because, well, let's face it, that's what gay people do. And they rallied up and it became the Don't Say Gay bill. There's still retarded liberals on the left that believe it's called the Don't Say Gay bill. It's called the Parental Rights Bill. And so this is a classic tactic that they do. Antifa, anti-fascist, is not nothing more than a facade. It's to make you afraid to challenge them because, God forbid, you're labeled a fascist.
Right. And if you look at their ideology, I mean, everything that they believe is not anti-fascist. It is 100% fascist. You know, and you touched on a democracy. You know, what democracy over time will 100% lead to fascism.
Yes, because it's always going to lead to civil war. If 51% can dictate to the other 49, you're going to have a fucking problem 100% of the time.
Yeah, it's always gonna put somebody in the position. A democracy is always gonna put somebody in the position to rise to power to take power away from the people.
I think, you know, we should, you know, there's people we should ask. Maybe we should ask Rome or Greece what democracy. Oh, that's right, you can't, because every democracy has fucking failed.
Absolutely. Just like
now,
every, you know,
democratic processes, voting for your representatives and voting for certain things I believe are important to a republic. But a republic is really what this country is and always should be. And the minute we start to teeter away from it ever being a constitutional republic, we see the aftermath of that. We've seen it in 1965 or whatever that was, 69, I believe, the Summer of Love, with the hippie movement and the free sex and all that shit and drugs and all that shit. We never bounced back from that. But that's exactly what that is. It was a Marxist attack on American culture and moral value. And it carried on. And every time we get a movement that gets people to believe that maybe we should flirt with socialism or maybe we should flirt with communism, it sets us back 20 fucking years. Hence the entire administration of Barack fucking Hussein Obama.
Right, absolutely, yeah. Socialism always leads to communism. I mean, like there's always stepping stones within political ideologies. There's always stepping stones. Socialism leads to communism. A democracy leads to fascism. And what we have built and the way that our forefathers built this country is a perfect a country. We are guided by the Constitution that gives us our rights, and we elect the people to represent us, and not to sit in the halls of Congress and argue each other and yell over each other, because they're not doing the will of the people. They're taking out their personal vendettas against each other and not representing their constituency.
100%. And it's on both sides. We know
Absolutely.
that. We're not.
Absolutely.
I'm not. I have conservative values at my heart. I wasn't always this far right, but I've always had pro-American, pro-love American values. There was a time when I was younger where I was an independent and I leaned a little left, but the Democrat Party, as I watched, especially after 2011 and the Occupy Wall Street movement, that is not a Democrat Party. That is a socialist, Marxist fucking movement, and I want nothing to fucking do with it. So as Ronald Reagan said, I mean, I was never on the Democrat side of things, but I did vote for Democrats in the past. I was an independent left, leaned a little bit more to the left, but always had pro-American values. And when the Democrats lost me is just the adoption of hatred for this country. And when it was overall accepted to burn the American flag, and when you're calling people that just don't want the flag burned Nazis and fascists and bigots, fuck you. You're disgusting, all of you. And the people on the Democrat, oh, I'm a good person, I don't agree with all that, but you stand by it. Because if you are a Democrat, then you're somebody that supports drag queen story hours for kids, because Democrats across the board in office, elected officials, fight for this. You put them there. So I don't care if you're a Democrat I'm a level-headed thinking Democrat, or I'm a moderate. No, if you're a Democrat, you're fucking evil, because to stand with evil and not say nothing is in fact evil in and of itself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, that's you're absolutely right. It's just like we're told in the Bible. Jesus tells us that if we see sin, we are to go to the congregation to get with that person, and then if that doesn't work, then go to the congregation. We are to call out sin.
Yeah.
That's what these things. And another thing is the left to right situation is it's a revolving circle. So you have to understand. So when you think of sides, far right, far left, so on, they revolve around each other. So the farther right you get, actually, the more left you are. The more left you go, the more the far right you go.
Yes.
They say authoritarianism sits on the right side.
Nope.
So we're far right. Well, no, because the far left wants an authoritarian reign, so that associates with the far right. You know what I'm saying? They kind of revolve around each other.
Yeah, it's true. Anarchy is a byproduct of going too far to the right, and totalitarianism and authoritarianism is a byproduct of going too far to the left. Neither one of those things have any place in a society, but that's what happens when you go too far to the right. It's anarchy. It's what Antifa wants, and they don't understand that in that sense, they're actually the fascist.
Absolutely.
It's the dichotomy, and it's what we've been saying until we're blue in the fucking face. I mean, there's Proud Boys that have died for this, saying Antifa's a communist, fucking anti-American trash basket organization that needs to be eradicated from this fucking land. We've been bastardized, we've been shot, we've been imprisoned, and we're still fucking here. And we get shit slung at us from the fucking cowards on the right. We expect it from the left. That's what we're here for, but the cowards on the right are why we exist. It isn't the violence on the left.
Yeah. Yeah. See, and that's the problem is that, a lot of people on the right don't have a problem punching right, but the lefts they're not going to say anything. They're all united. That's the difference between the left and the right. Those guys on the left, they're all united. But as Republicans, we don't have or as conservatives on the right side of the political spectrum, that a lot of people don't have problems punching right.
What would help us? A true fascist. No, I'm just joking. It was a half joke. Yeah, I mean, I think I was talking with Kim Coulter a little while ago, and she, you know, as a joke, she responds to these idiots on the left. She says, "Oh no, I agree with you. I don't think Donald Trump goes far enough. We need a real fascist to get the job done." And you know, she's joking, of course, but it's you know, kind of true. These idiots sit there and fucking say, "Oh, we have a fascist dictator, Nazi." If we had a fascist dictator, your little punk ass wouldn't say that publicly because you wouldn't be around to continue to do it. So shut the fuck up.
Not at all.
God.
You'd be in a camp somewhere, I promise.
It's not our greatest enemy. It's our greatest thing that we have is the freedom of speech. But because of freedom of speech, we've allowed our enemies to surround us with using freedom of speech to get to the point where they're able to silence ours and promote theirs. And this is a fucking problem. I mean, and I really do think with Donald Trump specifically naming the 18 USC 2384, the seditious conspiracy US code, and saying that in this meeting, having Nick Sortor there, having Nick Shirley there, okay? Andy fucking no.
What? That dude's
awesome.
gonna fuck Antifa because he knows. There's not a motherfucker in that room that knows more about Antifa than fucking Andy No.
Not a chance in hell. And I want to encourage anyone right now. Andy No, NGO. He is a journalist that covers Antifa extensively. He's been attacked by them. He's been assaulted by them. He has a book out called Unmasked by Andy No. I have read it a few times myself. And if you want an in-depth understanding of the history of Antifa, who they are, what they are in America, and how they act in other places and how it's all connected, if you want a very profound education to be able to articulate an argument with somebody that might be listening on the left as to who and what Antifa are, I recommend you go buy that man's book, Andy No, Unmasked, about Antifa. Behind the scenes of Antifa. It is a phenomenal book that's detailed and will give you some very good talking points and facts.
Yeah, he's not new to this. He's not new to this whole scene.
Not at all.
Andy No has been around for a long time.
Yeah,
and he's done his research, and he's done amazing research.
He's with the Post Millennial, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, but as an independent journalist, he's phenomenal. He is brave. He does not let up on these trash baskets, and we owe a lot to what we know about Antifa by this man putting his life on the line, literally day in, day out. Had to leave his own state multiple times. Death threats, attacked multiple times, hospitalized, cranial spinal injuries. This man has took the brunt of it. So respect this guy by going to look at his work, because today Donald Trump did. Donald Trump, if it wasn't for Andy No's hard on the ground work, there would be a lot still to uncover, and he's already done the footwork. So again, Unmasked by Andy No. I highly recommend you get on Amazon or wherever and buy that fucking book. Fuck Amazon, find it somewhere else.
Yeah, go to Books A Million.
Yeah. Great book though. It's got some pictures in it for you fucking mouth breathers that can't read a book without pictures, so you're good.
Yep.
So yeah, I want to also encourage people again. I said it before. I'm going to reiterate it. The 2010 Rojava revolution that took place in Syria that was done by American Antifa. And if you get a chance, read the Rolling Stones portrayal on that. You can clearly see who they're aligned with. It's ridiculous. The John Brown Gun Club. This is a more organized apparatus of Antifa. This is a militia that is trained. They are armed and they are spread out throughout our country. This is a group that I hope this administration is focused on. If you don't know who John Brown Gun Club is, I highly recommend you look them up. I'm sure I'll be getting death threats sent to my house by tomorrow for mentioning on here. But guess who gives zero fucks? This fucking guy.
Zero fucks.
Yeah. I got quite the fucking gun club over here. All my neighbors, we know each other. Our cameras are all connected. We have access to all of them. And between active police officers and prior military and walkie-talkies, I don't think you're getting off my block too fast, guys. I love this country, Reno. I love this country very much. And I'll tell you right now, if you've been listening to this show the whole time, I read a transcript from my pre-trial release for January 6th, where Robert Juman, no, that is not a joke, that is the last name, Robert Juman. If that is a Jewish last name, I'm going to say it's the worst Jewish last name I've ever fucking heard in my life. I don't know why you could have just not went with Steinberg or Goldberg or whatever.
It's kind of like
one.
It's kind of like Lou Gehrig's disease. Like nobody saw that coming.
Yeah, I'm a little. I'm offended by it. Like it seems really anti-Semitic, but whatever. If Robert Juman, if you're not Jewish, then disregard. But Robert Juman is a U.S. district attorney. He's based out of South Florida, and he was prosecuting a lot of the J6 cases, doing a lot of Matthew Graves' dirty work. And he said in my trial not only that Antifa was a boogeyman, that they don't exist. Primarily, is what he was saying. That I was a domestic terrorist. He pointed right at me and called me a domestic terrorist in my fucking trial or my pre-hearing release. And I will tell you this right now. That was the first time in my life that I knew what a broken heart felt like. Because unlike Antifa, I love this country. Unlike Antifa, I want the Constitution to live for 1,000,000 fucking years. Unlike Antifa, I want America to remain dominant throughout the world so we can keep peace. Do I agree with all of America's past actions? Do I agree with all of America's politicians? Absolutely not, on the right or the left. But it's okay to love the country you're from and not be okay with the people in charge. But as of that, for right now, I'm pretty okay with the people in charge. How about you?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, man. You know how I am, man. I'm okay with it. Don't piss me off. But yeah, do what you got to do. If you do what you say you're gonna do, then I'm okay with you. You know what I'm saying? If you say, hey, we're gonna go after Antifa, and you go after Antifa, yeah, good deal, man.
Well, I would say to Antifa this. Trump said he was going to pardon the J6ers. I'm living fucking proof of that, baby. I'm on the microphone right now talking to you. Promises made, promises kept. So if I were you, Antifa, I would be looking at this roundtable meeting today, and I would be pretty fucking concerned because the big bad orange man, he's quite known for doing what he says he's going to do. And he laid out specific U.S. code. It's a specific U.S. code that's not fun to have to fight in court. And considering the feds have a 98.7% conviction fucking rating.
Yeah.
And your funding has been clearly cut off.
yeah. You got motherfuckers leaving the country. So
yeah. Real quick note, we at Warboy Studios, we have relaunched 1776.shop. If you want to support us and you want to support our work and help us grow, go to 1776.shop. We have launched a series of very spicy, very offensive to the left t-shirts. McCarthy is right, was right is up there. I mean, we're living it. That dude was right. And there's many others, including Kill Marxism and Democrats are domestic terrorists on the American Rising store on 1776.shop. That's how you help us grow. That's how you keep us on here because the left continuously, actively works against us. And we need your help. So go to 1776.shop and check out our spicy merch.
Hell yeah.
So I can't imagine what it was like for Nick Sortor to be out there in fucking Portland, to have that happen to him, to be arrested for doing nothing wrong but defending himself, to less than a week later, sitting in a fucking office with the greatest president, and him pretty much telling the people that assaulted him, "We're coming for you, dog."
Yeah, that's wild. That's absolutely insane, and I love to see it. There's a couple of other ones that I would have liked to have seen up there. Portland Andy would have been one of the good ones to bring up there too, because then nobody, this guy, he streams them, he shows what they're doing. Nobody, you notice that nobody ever fucks Antifa or anybody doesn't ever fuck with Portland Andy in Portland, and there's a reason behind that. Great dude. There's a lot. I would like to see Two Punch Tommy come up there. That'd be great.
Yeah, that would have been great for Trump. He's 2-0.
He's 2-0.
Knocked out two trash bags back to back. Tommy.
Not
Tommy
saying this
boy.
guy has a great. Not saying this guy has a great left hook, but I saw that left hook. But
you know who didn't see it? The guy on the ground never
the
saw
guy
it
on the
coming.
ground, he was sleeping.
He bobbed what he should have weaved. Tommy took care of it. No, that was great. Really proud of that guy. But this is where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. And please be vigilant. Don't think that these people are not going to make desperate moves and behave like the terrorists they are. They don't really value life. A lot of them are heavily drug addicted. They're irrational, borderline schizophrenic, and they are capable of causing harm. So I would encourage anyone that knows people that are that have claimed to be associated with Antifa, that that promote their communistic views, start keeping a record of that, because it's time to go after them and eradicate them. And we're going to have to work with law enforcement to do that. I'm sorry, but we are. I want them out of this country. Anyone here, Islamists or anyone that says they want America eradicated, fuck you. I want you eradicated. Get the fuck out of my country. So that's my stance. I hope that they all fall. I hope that they all get indicted. I hope that they all get sent to prison for a really, really long time. And one thing I'd like to add, overall, both the inmate population of all races and demographic and majority of the correction officers are conservative.
Yeah.
I want you to know that. And I mean, even the black population in prison is pretty conservative. Trump has so many fucking fans in fucking federal prison. I'm telling you, I know. I was just there for 3 years.
Yep.
So these officers, they know who Antifa is, and they do not like them.
No, because a lot of them are pedophiles. Be a pedophile in prison. That's always a fun thing, you know?
Oh, yeah. And most of us, we have kept contacts in prison. I have friends in Atlanta, Tallahassee, Miami, that are going to be there for the next 10 years. So if you are a pedo and you end up at any prison, I'm not the only J6er that keeps in contact with a lot of people that they became friends with in prison. So all you Antifa members, whatever prison you go to, we're going to know somebody there. So if you do have prior offenses against children, you won't be able to keep them secret. We'll make sure of it. I'm going to make sure that every day you fucking serve in prison's harder than it has to be, because that's what you did to us. You cheered for it. You supported it. Have the same energy. That's all. Just have the same energy. You're tough. I'm sure. Look at the bright side, though, Reno. There's a lot of soy-based food in prison, so they're going to get their protein.
Soy-based food in prison, yes, absolutely.
So you're gonna love the county jails. It's all soy. So let's sit there and circle jerk each other and finger your mutilated nut sacks that you flapped into some sort of vagina type thing.
The fake bologna.
My God, these people. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end the stream here on Antifa being designated domestic terrorist. It looks like it's official. Trump and this administration is going to be actively going at them. Please expect some retaliation. Expect them to do some very stupid things. Be vigilant and keep your head on a swivel. And let's go and make America great again. Show up to those primaries and midterms, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Reno, brother, thank you for joining me.
We will get through the uncertainty of a new administration in Washington. As I said, we've done this before. We've been to this. And
isn't necessarily the best place to start. In fact, I think our reverence for the truth might have become a bit of a distraction that is.
You condemn white supremacy. And he fuddled around, didn't say anything. I said, how about the Proud Boys? And he said, well,
Ronald Reagan was 2 months into his presidency when John Hinckley Jr. blew a $29
If you want to really see something that said, take a look what happened